Dr. Tan See Leng.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I speak in support of the budget. Minister for Finance has put out a comprehensive suite of measures in his budget statement. Today, I would like to speak mainly on three issues. The first, which is on Workfare Income Supplement, and the second, to assure our business community, especially the small and medium enterprises or SMEs, of the direction and the pace of our workforce, our foreign workforce policy. And finally, I would also like to address the points brought up by the Workers' Party members on the distribution of tax burdens. First, on Workfare. Earlier in this debate, the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Pritam Singh, Mr. Gerald Giam and Ms. Jessica Tan raised concerns about the $500 minimum income criterion for Workfare. Now, I would like to correct the misconception that this is a cutback for lower wage workers. First, we estimate that around 20,000 workforce recipients, 20,000 workforce recipients will be affected by the criterion, all of whom are casual or part-time workers. The Leader of the Opposition has estimated that the number of affected recipients is 46,600 by referencing the number of employed residents aged 15 and above earning below $500 in 2021. Now, this is inaccurate. Not all of these 46,600 qualify for workfare due to criteria such as age, spousal assessable income, and the annual value of the place of residence. So in other words, nothing to do with the salary that they earn. Some would be students earning extra pocket money while they study, or some of them are actually from higher income households. They are not the intended targets of workfare. Furthermore, 46,600 is based on 2021 data and does not take into account the expected wage growth from the progressive wage model, or PWM, expansion, and also the new LQS, the local qualifying salary requirements that would uplift many employees beyond the $500 threshold. Should any of these 20,000 workers subsequently work more and earn more than $500 per month, they will automatically requalify for workfare. Second, the $500 per month is a reasonable and achievable wage for most regular workers under our progressive wage model approach. With the new LQS requirement, firms that hire foreign workers must pay all of their locals working part-time at least $9 per hour. At this wage, a part-time worker only needs to work about 2 working days a week to meet the $500 minimum income criterion. So third, we also recognize that there may be some workers who want to work more but are unable to earn $500 per month due to their personal circumstances. This includes persons with disabilities and ComCare recipients. We will provide them concessionary workfare payouts so that they will not be excluded from workfare. Hence, if Ms. Jessica Tan's resident requires additional financial assistance, she can apply for ComCare. And if she qualifies, she will receive concessionary workfare as well. In short, for workers who are earning less than $500, the best way to help them is to help them find a job of the appropriate quality and quantity of working hours to earn at least $500. Then workfare can come in to provide an additional boost to help such workers, we have a whole suite of employment facilitation programs and initiatives ready to assist. Now, moving on to my second point that I would like to raise, and that is on the foreign workforce policies. The Minister for Finance has laid out a multi-year roadmap to increase the qualifying salary for employment passes, increase the qualifying salary and levies for S passes, and reduced the dependency ratio ceiling, dismantle the man-year entitlement system, the MYE, and adjust levies for the construction and process sectors. I will speak more when MOM's budget is debated in a few days' time. Today, let me touch on and elaborate on our thinking behind these moves and how we will walk with businesses through these changes. Businesses, especially our SMEs, have expressed concern about rising costs. I want to assure SMEs that we understand these concerns, and we have taken great care when designing the timing of our moves. We're well aware that if businesses do not succeed, there will not be good jobs for Singaporeans. Besides SMEs, foreign companies are also quietly observing our moves. Even foreign publications have been speculating that Singapore is now less welcoming to talent. Members of the House, we must not allow such perceptions or such misperceptions to take root, because this will be very damaging for us. Hence, I want to be very clear that the changes we announce are to ensure that Singapore remains open to foreigners who can complement our workforce, so that our businesses can assemble the best team of locals and foreigners to compete on the global stage. And indeed, this strategy was affirmed by the House last year. We recognize that having foreigners work or working alongside us and living amongst us can cause discomfort, even some tension amongst Singaporeans. My assurance is that we will be vigilant in managing the social frictions that may arise from time to time. We will also guard against anti-foreigner and xenophobic sentiments. Singapore has always been a multicultural society, and we intend to keep it so. Our foreign workforce policies will have to balance the needs of businesses and workers, and this has been the core guiding principle in MOM. The announced changes to the qualifying salaries for employment pass or EPs or an S pass are part of this series of adjustments to maintain a balance. The wages of our local workers have risen over the years. This reflects the growth of our economy and the deepening of skills in our local workforce. This also means that the quality of the EP and S pass holders that we bring into Singapore must go up. That is why our EP and S pass qualifying salaries are adjusted regularly to keep pace with local wages. If we do not do so, firms may choose to hire foreigners simply because they are cheaper than locals. There will not be a level playing field. Our efforts to upskill our workforce, to sharpen our business competitiveness, will therefore be diluted. We know that businesses would want more lead time to adjust before these changes take effect. And this is exactly what we have done. We announced the moves early, but we have also incorporated a long runway between the announcement and the implementation dates of all of these moves. We are being transparent so that businesses have ample time to adjust and certainty to plan ahead. Let me use the S-Pass changes to explain in greater detail. We have given businesses 6 months notice for the first move to take effect. This first move will increase the qualifying salary to $3,000 for new SPAS applications. In other words, come September this year, 2022, all existing SPAS holders are still not affected. The existing ones that are here, they are still not affected. Only the new applications are affected. We will only apply the new qualifying salary 18 months later, from September 2023. And the renewals will also not all happen at the same time in September 2023. It will take another 2 to 3 years, so up to 2026, before the last SPAS employee on the old existing qualifying salaries come up for renewal. So in reality, businesses will have a minimum of 18 months notice, but it could take up to 4.5 years before all existing SPAS holders have to be renewed under the new rules. The same goes for the levies. The Tier 1 levy will be gradually raised to $650 by September 2025, in not just one step, but in 3 steps. And that is around 3.5 years before the changes take effect fully. Now, I know these adjustments, they take effort, and change is never easy. But at the same time, it is only through continuous innovation, continuous improvement that our businesses can grow and will grow from strength to strength. Rest assured that we will walk this journey with our businesses. I'm particularly mindful of the many SMEs in our economy. SMEs account for more than 70% of employment. And this is a very significant proportion of employment. And they are a very important contributor to our economy. I personally know, and I've also met with many SME business owners and have heard their concerns. Some are worried that they may be hit more than the MNCs because they have more financial constraints. They find it more difficult to compete for workers, and they are concerned that higher costs for foreign and local manpower will mean higher business costs. How can our SMEs make the necessary adjustments and emerge stronger? We have been regularly and progressively making updates to our framework. Each time when we made these adjustments, SMEs have taken advantage of the support schemes that we have available to transform, to pivot, and to adapt. The result is that our firms have a more sustainable and robust business model. They continue to thrive, and they continue to be able to tap the labor market for their manpower needs. With this round of changes, we will continue to support businesses. I would like to offer and submit some suggestions and share some examples of government support that businesses may wish to tap on. Businesses can review, of course, their wages. They can look into redesigning jobs to make jobs more productive and attractive for employees. Businesses can tap on schemes such as the support for job redesign under the Productivity Solutions Grant for job redesign consultancy support to complement and drive business and workforce transformation. In addition, businesses can expand local hiring and upskill their local workforce. The extended SG United Jobs and Skills Package and the Jobs Growth Incentive will continue to provide a significant boost to the hiring of locals. Together with the tripartite partners, we will make sure that SMEs who are prepared to transform their businesses and increase local hiring will receive the support they need. Some business owners told me that it is hard to find manpower even with the support, given that our unemployment is so low and that our labor market is tight. They say they need manpower across all levels, from the PMETs, the PMET level, the professionals, managers, executives, and technicians, PMET level, to the rank and file levels. Yes, our unemployment rate is low. And this is something that we are very glad for. But there are still untapped sources. One such group is women outside the workforce. For a whole myriad of reasons, there are about 20% or 260,000 women aged 25 to 64 who are not in the labor force. There are vacancies across all occupational levels with varied qualifications and needs which could potentially be filled by this group. In order to tap on this segment of our population, businesses will need to consider how the jobs they offer can be more flexible and attractive to locals, as flexible work arrangements can come in various forms and some may be more relevant for certain jobs than others. Businesses can adopt the most suitable flexible work arrangements that suit their organizations as well as their employees' needs, including for those in frontline or shift work. And some businesses are already doing so. And we should press ahead as best and as fast as we can. Some SMEs also tell me that they wish to hire at the work permit level to manage their manpower needs, but are unable to do so because of the rules such as source country restrictions. These rules are there for a reason, but we can find a way to offer some flexibility. It is something that MOM has been working on. I will address this at the upcoming MOM's COS in a few days' time, and I think it will be good news. Lastly, as we continue to refine our policy levers, we will ensure that there will not be a disproportionate impact on SMEs. For instance, there have been suggestions for the government to look beyond qualifying salary in our EP framework, our employment pass framework, which may be a blunt tool. We have considered, we have also taken the feedback very seriously. I will elaborate further in MOM's COS debate about how our refinements of the EP framework have taken into account the size of the firm. We know that businesses are trying hard. They are exploring various options to transform, to adjust to the changes. And we know that border controls have made things more challenging. As of end January 2022, there are around 46,000 approved work permit holders who have yet to enter Singapore due to border controls. But with our border reopening in a calibrated manner, some of this pressure will be relieved. This should help in the interim, but SMEs and businesses alike need to start to plan ahead on what works best for their business model and their workforce. Training and restructuring takes time. So I hope that our businesses will take a longer view on this. To support businesses in their planning, we have laid out our foreign workforce policy moves for the next few years so that businesses have greater certainty, predictability, and time to adjust. Finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to also address some of the points made by the honourable members from the Workers' Party. They oppose the budget because of the GST increase, but they agree with the moves we are making to shore up social compact. They accept greater government spending. In fact, they would like us to spend even more. I believe their position is agree with all the good, all the nice things that we propose, and then say, not enough, ask for more. But what they oppose is how we intend to do the difficult thing, and that is to raise the revenues to pay for all the good things that they like so much that they want even more. The Workers' Party suggests that we can do away with the GST increase if we raise more taxes through other means. Now, that is a revenue shortfall of $3.5 billion. They say, put a heavier load on some Singaporeans so that we don't have to have a GST increase. It sounds very simple and attractive, but ask yourselves, is it really doable? Mr. Speaker, there is a fundamental philosophical difference in our approach. Make no mistake, this government's approach is that the rich should carry a heavier load. We are raising income taxes on the top earners, property taxes on higher value properties, and the ARF, or additional registration fee for luxury cars. That was the mantra in my colleague, the Finance Minister's budget speech this year. The well-off will pay more and receive less, and the less well-off will receive more and pay less. Let me repeat that. The well-off will pay more and receive less, and the less well-off will receive more and pay less. But there's a significant difference between what constitutes a fair load and what constitutes a punitive load. It is not possible to get the entire GST amount, the 3.5 billion, by loading it entirely on all those just at the very top. Amongst the revenue options proposed by the Workers' Party, they have suggested increasing personal income tax and property tax even more. If we were to do that, we will have to raise the tax rates on income and property even more substantially. And we have to make more people, including middle-income earners, pay more. Why? Because it is not possible to have extremely punitive taxes on just the top 1% or the 5%. So the consequence is that we will have to raise income taxes for not just those at the very top, but it will pervade, it will percolate down to our middle, our upper middle income, including those who have benefited from our education system, our years of social mobility, those who have toiled, who have labored, who have worked very hard all through the years to move up from more modest circumstances. We will have to apply higher property taxes to a larger base of properties, not just your landed properties, your good class bungalows, your semi-Ds, your terrace, your luxury condos, which will already, by the way, see a significant increase. But it will also go to all condos, perhaps executive condominiums, the ECs, and perhaps even, eventually, even larger HDB flats. Residents from across the country, the whole island, my residents in Marine Parade, residents in the nearby East Coast, Joo Chiat, Bukit Timah, Thomson, Upper Thomson, Bishan, you name it, Upper Bukit Timah, including even in Sengkang, in Aljunied too, they will all be hit. These are the people who may have to make up the difference. So, this year, this debate, the impression I took away of what the Workers' Party really want is two things. One, they say it loud and clear. The other may not be so loud, or perhaps it's hidden somewhat, and perhaps they could clarify. Loud and clear, I like all the nice and good things you're proposing, but more will be better. But what they're not saying, and perhaps I'm baffled, and as a consequence is, I like it that you are raising taxes on the wealthy, and more of such taxes will be better. However, have they considered that the burden would inevitably have to be borne and applied to a wider group and a wider variety of Singaporeans and taxpayers. So the first, more, they shout from the rooftops. The second, more, relatively muted, hoping that perhaps people would not notice that inevitably that could be a consequence of what they are proposing. Mr. Speaker, sir, we fundamentally disagree with what the Workers' Party's proposal will imply for our society. It will ultimately result in a system where our approach to revenue is just to squeeze anyone who does well from the middle income upwards, potentially. Where we tell Singaporeans, look, there's someone better off who can afford to take on all of the burden. You don't have to put in your share, or you don't have to put in your fair share. Now, that is not good, nor is it sustainable for our social compact. All of us have a stake in our society, and we benefit from public services and from progressive policies. In fact, those with less will get back much more than what they pay in additional GST. And we give generous help to those who need the help, while everyone pays something. It is both an individual and our collective responsibility. And if we do what has been proposed and suggested, the middle income, the upper middle income, those who have worked hard, who have fulfilled, who have done perhaps better than their parents' expectations and aspirations, they will feel betrayed. If we take the Workers' Party's approach, we will, as a consequence, have to increasingly shift the burden, the tax burden, and raise the tax burden onto the middle income, the middle class. That, I believe, is the surest way to unravel and destroy our social compact and trust in our society. And Singapore will not hold together. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, Madam Speakers, it is not an easy task ahead for all of us. There are difficult things that we must do together. But as long as all of us, workers, unions, businesses, fellow citizens, and government are prepared to play a part and work closely together with the long-term interests of Singapore and Singaporeans at heart, I believe we will continue to live long and prosper. With that, I support the budget. Thank you.